In the box. Boxes are created throughout history by scientists, educational circles, administration, politicians, and special interest groups who use their agendas to develop educational policies. Many of these policies treat all students as if they learn in the same way. Like putting a round peg into a square hole, the policymakers put all learners into their one box. My project in the box has evolved from a simple collage box to a more inclusive collage sculpture. Art education history is constantly changing, complicated, and often confusing set of progressions. This is why I chose to use collage, because of its complicated, sometimes confusing, and constantly changing appearance. Every time you look at a collage, you see something new or something different, and so it is with art education history. I quote from page 131 of Stankowitz's 2001 Roots of Art Education Practice. Change is a constant in educational systems and in art education and its rationales. End quote. Using collage on a male head was not an easy feat. As I was layering piece after piece onto the collage, struggling to get the pieces to lay flat and neat, I was thinking about the parallel to art education history. Just as there are hundreds of pieces on my collage, there are hundreds of theories and developments in art education. Difficulty in choosing meaningful pieces, placing pieces in meaningful spots, and molding pieces over the many bumps and cracks on my collage reminded me of the difficulty I was having in choosing which theory I agreed with and how it fit into my teaching. Korsnick says in a 1990 article, we have to ask ourselves, what have I chosen to leave out or found too uncomfortable? What did I choose to subconsciously leave out of my collage? Will this affect its meaning? At one point, I started to think of the history of art education as a cartoon fight, a big churning swirl of ideas in which many of the theories and innovations just add to the swirl. I quote from Kahn, 2011, page 1. What a great analogy. Collage, too, is a swirl of ideas and innovations. Using variety in color, materials, and shapes are what make a successful collage. Isn't variety in methods and theory and the ability to be flexible what makes a successful teacher? In the box encompasses the things that affected the development of art education, like industrialization and urbanization, gender roles, World War I and World War II, Sputnik, political agendas, social, cultural environment, economic environment, cultural art, money, power and influence, the civil rights movement, high pop, culture, and holiday art. According to Chan's 2012 introduction of Week 14, there are 5 major streams of thought in art education. Utilitarian art as a skilled labor, child art, expressing self-expression and creativity, moral, ethics, the good taste, Americanism, and high culture, discipline-based art education, and visual culture. These are represented not only by the collage work, but by 5 of the 6 strands of hair. The 6th strand of hair represents the influence of development listed above. The male head was chosen to represent the dominance of men as leaders. Korzenek comments in a 1990 article, in art education as in society at large, women and men have preferred to see men as leaders and not to notice our subordinate position. End quote. The bangs of hair represent the constant waves of change in art education and the ups and downs of teaching as a career. The box represents 2 things. First, the head is popping out of the box. This reminds us to think outside of the box. The second is that we have to fight the political agendas which want to pull all students into one square box. The right side of the head emphasizes all forms of art to remind us that it is important to develop the right side of the brain as it is to develop the left side of the brain. Last but certainly not least are the silly sunglasses, which remind us never to forget that it's all about the kids.